You giving oddball vibes, honey. You're not even weird no more. You are.
Look in the mirror, shawty, you know you nailed it. Ain't even come no.
Welcome back to my channel. My name is Yavian, and if you're new here, hi. And I'm quite sure y'all seen the title. Today we'll be doing a story time. So this happened my sophomore year, and I was just switching schools. So me and this girl did not know each other at all. Like, never seen her before. Didn't have like any type of connection or anything. So we enrolled on the same day, and the guidance counselor, it was a coincidence that we had the same guidance counselor, rode the same bus, stayed in the same neighborhood, same grade, same age. Major coincidence. So the guidance counselor suggests to us, oh, you know, like, since it's y'all first day at the same school, you know, you guys should be friends. So shockingly, we both just decided like, oh, okay. So I'm talking to her, we're just talking, like trying to get to know each other a little bit, and they showed us the school and we split. Ending of the day, we ended up riding home together because we stayed in the same neighborhood or whatever, and we exchanged numbers on the bus or whatever, and then we get off the bus and she sees that, she walks me to my door and she sees that her mom's car isn't in the yard. Her mom, she's like, that's strange, like I was expecting my mom to be home. So she called her. She didn't stay on the phone with her mom for more than a minute, and then she ends the phone. After she talked to her mom, she was like, okay. She hangs up. My brother is in the hospital, he passed out. So I'm like, oh dang, well, you know, like, how long is your mom gonna be? She's like, I don't know. So I let her sit in with me. So I was like, oh, well, you could just come in with me. And her mom came home within like 2 minutes. So when I walked her to the door, her brother was in the back seat looking totally fine, like nothing had happened. Like, he was just, he was chill. So when she leave, I'm like, okay. So I told my mom, I'm like, you know, she said that her brother was in the hospital today because he passed out. But when her mom came to get her, he looked totally fine. He was eating, and he didn't look like anything was wrong. So my mom was like, that's kind of sketchy because he's a child. So why is he at this hospital and not at the hospital that, you know, they usually send kids to when they, you know, start having problems? So I didn't even think about it like that. I was just like, you know, like, whatever, maybe something did happen, I don't know. So about 2 weeks passed, and she came to the door in the morning to come and walk with me to the bus stop. And my mom was cooking breakfast because on Fridays I always took breakfast to school. And she knocked on the door, and it just so happened that my stepdad was up and he opened the door. So he told her, oh, like, come on in or whatever. And she came in. So she came in or whatever. So my stepdad told me it was something that I did. It was something that I did. And my stepdad was like, oh, I need you to go to the car, go get some money from out of the car or whatever. And I bring it back to him. And he was like, oh, no, that's for you. So I'm like, oh, okay. And she seen that. She seen that. So she seen me take my breakfast and she seen me get the money. So she's just like scoping stuff out, being observant. The next day, I want to say, after she seen that, the next day, we get to school and she sees that it's a person that's selling snacks or whatever. She goes, oh, do you have any money? Like, I want to get some snacks. Do you have any money? And I was like, oh, no, I don't bring cash with me to school. She goes, so what happened to that 20 that you had yesterday? Girl, that's not your money. Stay out my pockets. But I was like, oh, well, I don't bring cash with me to school, so I didn't bring it. She backed off afterwards. Then she was like, oh, okay. So I felt bad, and I told my mom about it, and she was like, oh, well, we can go get her some snacks. We go and get her some snacks. When we got her those snacks, it was on a Friday, I think. It was like sometime before like the weekend, because the day after I brought her the snacks, she texted me, I think. She texted, or she had called me. It was something that she did. And she goes, oh, do you have a jacket? Do you have like a extra jacket or something that you don't use? I was like, no, I don't think so, but I'll check and let you know or whatever. And she goes, oh, okay. I gave her 2 of these coats. When I tell you, she wore them to pieces. She wore them to smithereens. But that wasn't, that was, I was cool with it. I was okay with it until it was just like a whole bunch of other mess that happened. So she asked, after she asked for the coats, she started picking up after she asked for 1, but I gave her 2. She started picking up a habit of asking me for stuff, like for me to buy her stuff. I had got an up-to-date phone, and she noticed that I had got an up-to-date phone, and she goes, oh, well, what are you doing with your other cases? What are you doing with your cases for your old phone? I was like, oh, I don't have those no more. Like, I threw everything away for the phone. She got so mad, and I was just like, girl, this ain't even your stuff, but okay. So I let that roll off my back. What caused me to start realizing, like, this girl is crazy, she's loony, was when she started telling me about stuff of my personal life that I didn't tell her. So I'm like, how do you know this? She knows my personal business, but I don't tell her my personal business. Then she asked me about it. She told me. Then she started asking me personal questions, and I was like, how do you know this stuff? And we don't talk like that. We don't have conversations about what's going on in my personal life, what's going on in your personal life. We leave it at, you know, a regular school conversation. And she's like, oh, well, I know certain people are da 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 da. And I'm like, so I tell her, like, oh, you know, like, I don't really appreciate that. I'm not really comfortable answering those questions. Could you stop asking me? She didn't stop. Well, she stopped for a couple of days, but she kept bringing it back. So I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm not hanging with you no more. So I stopped hanging with her completely. You're not within 2 days timing, probably even less than that. 2 days timing, she has like 15 new friends. They all freshmen, but she has like a bunch of new friends. They all picking, being funny, just doing the absolute most. Talking about they're gonna fight me, they're gonna jump me. So I just keep talking to my mom about it. I'm like, I'm gonna ignore it. But this one particular day, her and someone on the bus that we rode was like that they were gonna jump me. And all the I'm gonna ignore it went out the window. I was sitting in class going off, and I had a substitute. So the substitute was like, baby, look, don't let anything that's not gonna matter in 5 years get you worked up more than 5 minutes. But I wasn't trying to hear that. I was not trying to hear that. I wanted to fight. So I'm just like, yeah, you're right. I put them headphones in, put on my fighting music, because I was ready to go. I was ready to go in. After I had calmed down though, I was just like, bro, I'm not even gonna put my hands on nobody. I'm just gonna wait for them to come after me. So they still just going around the school telling everybody like, like, she try anything, she do this, she do that. I'm gonna fight her, we're gonna jump her and all her friends. And this one particular morning, they kept calling my name. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna ignore it, but I'm real fed up at this point. So something in the back of my mind was just like, girl, don't you ignore that. So the whole entire day, I'm like, wait until the afternoon when I see all of them. I'm gonna confront. And one of my friends, she was like, girl, no, you're not gonna do it. I was like, yes, I am, and I don't care if it comes down to me having to fight all of them. I'm gonna confront. I get to the bus ramp, all her friends lined up. So I'm like, oh, da 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 da. Did you say, what was you and your friends saying about me this morning in the cafeteria? Because I don't be talking about you. Keep my name out your mouth. But I said more. I was like cussing her out and everything. And she was like, what? We don't even talk about you. We don't talk about you. And I was like, okay, so if y'all don't talk about me, then how come these girls know my name? How do they know my name? she completely got quiet. And then I was like, okay, then, exactly what I thought. And I walked off. That wasn't enough. That was not enough. That wasn't enough for her. That wasn't enough for her friends. It just wasn't enough. So it goes from that to her walking around telling people we're cousins. I get on the bus, maybe like a couple of days later, I get on the bus and this boy comes and sit up beside me. He goes, you know that girl up front with the glasses and the da-da-da? And I'm like, yeah, I know exactly who you talk about. He goes, she said y'all cousins. I said, no, that's not my cousin. I don't really know her like that. That's not my cousin. And he goes, well, she be saying that y'all are related. So if I go in there and ask her, I'm gonna know that you lying. And I'm like, boy, I know my family members. I know that me and her is not related at all. And he's like, yeah, y'all related. And I'm like, that's not my cousin at all. I don't know this girl for real. And then, mind you, she's saying all of this, and I forgot to even put out that she said that she moved from a different state to here. So I'm like, it's just not making any sense at all. Like, at this point, I'm confused. Everybody else is confused. We all confused. And I just keep telling people, like, no, that girl's not my cousin. People keep asking me. I'm like, she's not my cousin. She's not my cousin. I don't know this girl like that. I just met her this year. That wasn't enough. She kept going, kept telling lies. So then one day, I was standing at the bus stop by myself, and this heifer decides, because birds will always be at our bus stop for some odd reason, this heifer decides to take bread and cereal and throw it at my feet so the birds can peck me. She was practically begging for it. She was begging for it, but I didn't even bother her. I just left it alone. I was like, you know what? I don't got time for this. I ended up getting suspended for a whole different situation when I should have got suspended on her. But I ended up leaving it alone, and I ended up switching schools, so it didn't really matter anymore. But I will say though, she kept walking past my house, and her mom kept driving past my house until we moved. So it's just like, girl, you giving oddball vibes, honey. You're not even weird no more. You an oddball. Other than that, that was the stalker video, y'all. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and click the post notification bell so you guys get notified when I post.